What is a dirty business tactic that you know and everyone should be aware of it? When moving out of a rental apartment/house, make sure to take lots of pictures and ask the owner/landlord to do a walkthrough with you. Video the walkthrough. That way if they do not give you all your deposit back, you have something to take to court vs a he said which you generally lose. When you turn in cable/internet equipment, make sure to get a full receipt showing what they took in and the date it was received. Scan this and email to a couple different email accounts. Comcast and others are bad about losing the equipment a couple years later after you forget and then billing you. Similarly, take pics of any existing damage to a rental as soon as you move in and email it to the landlord/leasing office. I did this after a landlord told us he took the last tenant's entire security deposit for damage. To be fair, it sounded like the tenant really messed crap up. I took that as a flag and sent him a very detailed email of every hint of damage I could find. 12 months later, after we moved out, he emailed me to say he was going to deduct $100 from our security for damage. I reminded him of the email I sent him and never heard from the fricker again. Landlord tried to claim damages after we moved out. I took extensive before and after pictures of every corner of the place. I said, "Oh really? Can you send pictures of the damages so I can compare them to the ones I took when we moved out?" Never heard from her again. Worked in a family-owned pharmacy for a few years. Find yourself a family-owned pharmacy if you don't want to go through your insurance, B, don't have insurance, or C, you'd like to support the working class and not Walmart or CVS. People would call us and ask for a cash price for their medication. We would be hundreds of dollars cheaper than Walmart on almost every prescription. I remember quoting someone a 90-day medication at $20 and they said Walmart was going to charge $250. The reason I said the things about not going through insurance is because insurance companies tell the pharmacy how much to charge you and tell the pharmacy how much the medications cost. Crap. Add insurance companies to this list. Family-owned pharmacies are losing so much money because of the way insurance companies work. The 3-tiered pricing approach, especially for things like roofing or basement waterproofing. The contractor starts with a ridiculously high-priced quote for way more stuff than you asked for, steps down to a more moderate quote of what you wanted with a few bells and whistles, then the third quote is for what you requested. This gives you the illusion of choice and reduces sticker shock, because although your requested absolute minimum service is really expensive, it's only half the cost of their recommended repairs. I have mixed thoughts on this. On one hand, I get that contractor gouging is bad. On the other hand, picking the cheapest everything all the time results in, well, crap. In the condo I rent, the AC compressor is on the way out. Half of the building's water heaters have been replaced, the washer/dryer are dying, and the dishwasher is met, and they are having the underground parking structure for 3 months. The building, and all the things in it, are 10 years old. The management firm sent out an email because people have been complaining, telling us that in a building of this age, issues are to be expected. 10 years old is practically brand new. You missed the point though. It's not about picking the cheapest here, because they aren't quoting you on the cheapest. They are giving you a vastly inflated sticker price for things you didn't request for the sole purpose of making their other inflated price look better. They aren't trying to sell you different services, that's just an added benefit for them. If you do take the higher price, they are trying to get you to pay huge markups on basic services, because the buy look a lot cheaper than the other services. Petco will sell you non-aquatic plants specifically for your aquarium that will poison everything in the tank. Petco is horrendous. One of the few times I've ever called a corporate office was when my wife and I walked into a Petco and noticed a tank full of rats were lying in an inch of water from a broken water bottle. We told 2 staff members who barely even acknowledged we'd spoken. The third employee was the woman at checkout, who quietly told us we should call their corporate. She seemed to be the only one who cared, including the person on the phone. My dad worked at PetSmart for a short time when he was offered a good amount of money to be a department manager. He probably came home with 10 different lizards and I believe 3 hamsters during his time working there. Why? They would be shipped to the store and sit in their shopping containers until a space on the floor opened up for them. if they received 5 bearded dragons that they didn't mean to order, they'd sit in the back and die of whatever killed them first. Dehydration, starvation, heat stroke. My dad would secretly take some of them home so they wouldn't be left for dead, and his coworkers cared so little for the animals in the back that they were never missed. We got some good pets out of it, and he complained all the way up to corporate before he left. He stayed just to complain. Nothing was done. Maybe not dirty, but incompetent contractors will often way underbid jobs. So if you request a bunch of quotes and all the bids are relatively close except for one that's way lower, there's roughly a 100% chance that guy will screw it up and you'll have a nightmare on your hands. Sometimes you get what you pay for. Also, FWTW, if a bid is high, it probably means they don't want the job. In any type of vendor negotiations or productions, always triple bid, that is get at least 3 bids. If all 3 come in around the same price, choose your favorite. If one is an extreme outlier, either high or low, then you can throw them out. They are either overcharging, scoped incorrectly, or undercharging and will hit you with another bill later on for add-ons. The bids that come in at a similar price point are probably a fair price. If you get 3 bids and they are all massively different in price, then the scope of the assignment probably wasn't clear. Man, this reminds me of the weird experience my wife had in getting a quote to clear an overgrown area on the property she manages. It's an event venue for rent. There's a roughly 100-meter stretch of shoreline on a small lake nearby that had gotten overgrown with bushes, small trees, whatnot. She asked 3 landscaping companies for quotes. Their bids. One said $7,000. One said $15,000. One said nah, we won't / can't. Her elderly coworker was apoplectic and convinced that the last time it was done, they didn't pay more than $2,000. Conveniently, however, she couldn't remember the name of that company and couldn't find any paperwork from when it was done. Out of the blue, a business card from a landscaper appeared in our house's front door. She called the guy and asked if he could clear the business's shoreline. Turns out he was the same guy that did it before and did it the next day for $1,500. The job was literally just cutting and clearing out all the growth. My elementary school would host a fun day every year where there were booths, games, activities, etc. They'd get the kids to help out with various small tasks too. One year when I was about 9, my task was to help sell the little potted geraniums, $0.25 each. Well, no one was buying any of them, so I had a brilliant idea. I made a new sign that said, buy 1 for $1, get 3 free. Those little geraniums sold like hotcakes after that. I was so proud of myself I told the principal. He did not approve, though he let me do it anyway. It's a wonder I didn't turn into a little Gordon gecko. Probably only the bonaitis kept it in check. My son's school does something like this. They give out tickets throughout the year, then have kids bring in something to sell for tickets, and hold a little mini market for all the children to set up ticket shops. My son couldn't think of a good idea, so I said why not buy / sell tickets for RL money? We set up our booth. We were buying tickets from kids for a nickel and selling tickets to kids for a dime. Walked out of there with the original $20 in nickels I had provided, plus about another $5 in dimes, which my son kept, and my son had so many tickets left over that he was able to buy a bunch of stuff from other kids' stations, including candy and games. His teacher and principal were upset because they had complaints from parents because they felt like we were ripping off their children. I told his principal that, since the purpose of this activity was to teach the kids how economy works, what better way to teach my son this than to show him how companies make profit? They told me we weren't allowed to do that again, so next year we'll be setting up a pyramid scheme for tickets. If the role was to teach about economy through a BAT simulation, your son played the role of a banker. Have tickets you don't need? Trade tickets for some money. Need a couple more tickets? Here you go, but you'll need to trade for equivalent value. Why the school shut you down I don't know. Currency exchange is a big part of the global economy. I want something that's $10, but I only have $7 plus a few euros left over from a trip abroad. So I get it exchanged to the currency I need. The you won a TV/$5,000 base boat. Scams at car dealerships. Generally, you get a flyer in the mail that says scratch off X to see if you won. You always win the biggest prize, but when you read the fine print, you actually only win the right to spin some wheel or put your name in a box for a drawing. The employees' friends and family always actually get the boat/TV/cash. Your win is just a tactic to get you into the dealership. A fun thing to do is waste the manager's time. Go to the dealership, price flyer in hand. Find a nice car, one with all of the options. Ask for every dealer add-on they offer and tell them you don't want to waste time negotiating. You have cash. Talk to the manager and keep going back to him/her. Insist on a test drive with the manager. Convince them you want to buy the car and get to the paperwork phase. Then, just before you sign, inform them that they haven't sold you a car. They've sold you on the idea of buying a car. Get the manager's card and tell them you'll be dropping their card in a hat with other dealership managers' cards. A card will be selected at random, and that dealership manager will be notified by mail in 4 to 6 weeks. Let them know that the actual car you buy may not be the one used in your promotion. I had an aunt who would fall for this kind of thing all the time. Scratch card in the newspaper that says top prize a cruise. Super small print. Prizes also include PS10 off, PS3000 holiday voucher, a key ring, etc etc. Just call this number to find out small print. Calls charged at PS 1.50 per minute. Calls may last up to 30 minutes. She could not be talked out of it, so I got her to save them for me to call when I visited, and I'd just take the phone in the other room, wait a bit, then tell her she'd only won the voucher, so there was no point in claiming it. Somehow, I don't think I cheated Auntie out of any fabulous holidays. Getting solar panels on your house by lease or power purchase agreement is a horrible deal for a homeowner. You save a small amount on your bill, but are tied to the agreement for 20 plus years while the company that actually owns them retains all of the tax benefits. I can't speak for others, but my parents took a similar deal a few years ago when the solar panel industry was booming. Now we don't pay for our house electricity and actually make extra power to sell to the state power company. This contract expires in 25-30 years. It kinda helps that my country is absolutely scorched during summers. Greece. That's not how it works in the US. What the op was referring to is a PPA, where you buy your power from the solar company. Say, you pay 20 cents per kWh from your local energy company. The solar company comes along and says you'll pay 15 cents. That will grow at 3% per year, and you're contracted for 20 years. They use your roof to install their panels. Technically, you're not getting any benefit from the panels on your house because you're paying for all electricity anyway. On top of that, there are huge tax breaks in the US for buying panels, but since you're not buying the panels, you get none of the tax benefit, and the solar company gets all of it. In my state, the tax break is almost 50% the cost of the panels. Extra life insurance as an investment. Many financial advisors will advise buying more life insurance than you need because holding the policies allow a certain amount of tax-free investing, and yes, what they say is true to a degree. But you're also then paying for extra coverage that you don't need, hopefully, in order to buy the right to these tax-free earnings. So up your likely out money. Yes, you now own the insurance policy, but given that the idea is to improve your portfolio and not your safety net, it may not be a smart strategy. At any rate, they do this because it makes them an immediate commission to sell the policy as opposed to earning money slowly by helping you grow your portfolio. Long story short, many years ago a buddy got a job as a financial advisor and I went in for a financial review to help him out. Since he needed clients, his mentor sold me on a bunch of crap on how additional insurance would help me, and then I bought it. Fast forward 3 years, John quits and I get a call from a dude at the firm asking me to come in as he's the new advisor. Basically he explains that we need to drop all of this excess insurance and that shady advisors oversell this tax advantage for more than it is in order to get the commissions. For the record, this comment is not meant to say, don't buy life insurance, but that you should be careful buying extra life insurance policies as a financial instrument to invest, especially if the person selling you on this idea works for the company selling the policies. But do buy enough life insurance to protect your family, not as an investment but as, well, insurance. I worked insurance sales for a little while. The company I worked for basically taught us that whole life is the worst life insurance and investment vehicle known to man. Their philosophy was to sell the amount of term life that someone needed and have them invest the difference in something that would get a higher return over their life.